Podcast City Network. You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
Welcome, everyone, to The Everett Lee Show. I'm the Everett Lee. Today on the program, my guest you can catch every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on FGW Shockwave on the Future Great Wrestling's YouTube channel. I'm going to welcome to the program today professional wrestler Ryan Michaels. How you doing, Ryan?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How we doing?
Pretty good. Just enjoying this rain here in Daytona Beach.
We had ours about a week, 2 weeks ago that it was every day. Now it's 87 degrees today, and I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, it's here in Florida. When it rains, it gets really hot. We get those showers that end up raining, and it gets really hot and humid, and it's just you don't want to go outside.
Yeah, my dad lived in Florida, so I grew up in Florida every summer for like the first 12, 16 years of my life till I started making football more of a I can't keep coming down and missing all these football training sessions, all that, and when I come back I was always behind. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's usually around between 3 and 5 o'clock. It'll rain for an hour just to make it miserable outside, and then it goes away. Then it's just miserable.
Yeah, it definitely is. It gets really miserable with the humid, and I just can't stand it. And pretty much, if I'm indoors, I stay indoors and I don't go out. But I mean, that's nothing new with everything that's going on in the world because with this COVID-19. How you been handling yourself during this time? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
The horrible, sad thing is a lot for me on my end has not changed. As far as the shoot job goes, I do welding, electrical, and hydraulics for a company called Rumpke, which is a trash and waste company. So I've still been putting anywhere between 50, 55 hours a week in. So literally nothing on my end has changed outside of obviously there's no wrestling right now, but I got hurt back in February again. So I was out in February anyways. So I was literally, it's just everyday life for me.
Yeah, talking about getting hurt there. It was during the Origins 2 event there with FGW, and we were talking about that last night about the spot because you asked me if I watched the DVD, and I did, and I watched your and Amos's match there, and one hell of a match, man. You guys, man, you pulled some shit out that I didn't even expect, especially from Amos and especially from you right there, man.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I've actually still yet to watch the match with me and Amos just because I knew when I got hurt, and literally after that, a lot of the match is a blur for me. I'm usually pretty good at remembering every single thing because I try to be the ring general and get us where we need to go and things like that. And Scott took over and did a lot. And I mean, a lot for that to me is a blur. And I'm still yet to go back to watch it because it still doesn't sit well with me that it happened, and I'm not blaming anybody. That it's not his fault. I mean, it's not necessarily my fault. I mean, yeah, I could have landed better, but I just lost control of myself, and it was a freak accident that happened. But the idea that I had for that match and everything, I started trying to pitch ideas and get that set up back in September when I got hurt the first time. I was saying, hey, can I get Amos at Origins 2? Can I get Amos at Origins 2? And literally put all this, try and get this together, and then that goes and happens. So it's I'm still sour on it. I've heard it's a good match. Everyone's giving us both a lot of credit for it, and I appreciate that. That does mean a lot. But it's a blur to me. It literally is. I'll go back and watch it at some point, probably right before we get things rolling again. Right. I'll finally sit back and watch it, but I'm just not there yet.
Yeah. I know because you like you said, you had so much planned for that match, and things didn't happen like it's supposed to. Amos got you through that match there, and it was during that spot there with the flapjack, and man, you finished the match with a broken arm, man. I mean, especially that spot where you guys are doing the crossface, you're countering that. I just kind of eked in pain there because I kind of knew around that area that what happened to you, but I didn't know when until when we talked last night and you told me. And then thinking back at it, I was like, yeah, that's where it happened. But damn, you're tough as nails, Ryan. Finishing a match like that. You pulled some Triple H stuff out, man.
Yeah, that was the more Triple H persona side of me that night.
Yeah.
You're gonna get one of there. You're either gonna get the Brett side or the Triple H side. So it just depends what the match is or which, I guess, character you could say. And so it's just, the flapjacks when it happened, and I knew as soon as I was like, okay, something's wrong. And I could not lift my arm, could not nothing. Even going to the crossface spot, like I remembered where that spot was, and I remember how we kind of went through it. And the way we were supposed to originally get into it, he was supposed to have that arm in the crossface. I was like, I can't do it. So I'm like, have him in it, and I'm trying to spin him the other way, say, hey, go this way instead to take the other arm.
Right.
And he's trying to get my like right arm out and everything. It's like, it just hurt. I'm sitting there in this thinking like, how am I going to roll through this to get him in it? And then boom, do it. And then I kind of pull back a little bit. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, this hurts too. It was like everything is just killing me at this point.
Yeah.
And it was just bad night at the office. Apparently a really good match. I will go back and see it, but just for me personally, and obviously, well, physically, it's a rough night, real rough night. And that sucks too when it's on the biggest show of the year that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that DVD was just fantastic with the matches and just the stories built behind it that led everything up to each match with the story. And for storytelling right there, that's one of my top favorite DVDs right there, wrestling DVDs right there. I have to say right now on top of the list there, because I don't think anything I know of or anything would come close to it, because it's just such a great great talent and just great matches. I can't say anything more about it, man.
Right.
It's so good.
No, it was a really good night. I think from start to finish, that was our best show, I would have to say. I put it up there with the Code Presents and We Got Heat, but I think you had a couple of really good standout matches, especially the match between Cody Hawk and Drew Skills. I thought was,
yes,
from a storytelling, emotionally sucking you in standpoint, they delivered, and they had been building that for months and months and months and months, and they hit it out of the park. And for me, on my end of that, all of the locker room, because a majority of them, I would say about 95% of our locker room was trained by Cody. Mm-hmm. And so when they all go out there and are beating on the mat and cheering Cody on and everything like that, I'm left in the locker room by myself. So I can see it on the camera angles and everything and get the shots that maybe you wouldn't have got right there. And seeing the look and the story Cody's telling on his face is just, it got me. After the match, I applauded them both. Came back like, you got me, motherfucker. I was like, I'm back here friggin' got tears rolling down my eyes, like really believing in this story. I'm like, every time I think I got you, you go back and get me. And I was like, that's always how Cody and I have been with each other.
Yeah, I was right there. I was right there, just emotional, because the way they opened up everything with Drew's entrance, and then with Cody's entrance, and then he came out there and just giving it all, man. Just one of my favorite top Cody Hawk matches right there. And Drew Skills, he's a beast, man.
He is phenomenal. He is phenomenal.
He is. He definitely is. And I've been looking at your matches, because
it's a hard find. Good luck to that. It's a hard find.
It is a hard find. But what happened was when I was interviewing other FGW talent, I was interviewing them a few weeks ago, and I'd always come across Ryan Michaels in a match. If I was looking at Cody Hawk stuff, Ryan Michaels. Shauna Reed, Ryan Michaels. So I was like, same thing with Cody. And pretty much I found a lot of great matches. I know you sent one of them to me, which was the on December 15th, 2017, the CWAI Warehouse Wars with Shauna Reed. I did watch that last night, man. And
that's a fun one. That's a fun one.
That was just that match right there. Just, you were outnumbered. You were the face. Shauna was the heel. She does a good job of what she does with the crowd and just how she carries herself in the ring there. And I mean, the crowd got behind you there. And there's moments there where you were outnumbered until the ref stepped in and got rid of the outside interference.
At that point, the number had already been done, and she's just picking up the scraps at that point. But it's not easy to get the crowd behind you when you're wrestling Shauna. I mean, people just naturally like her, and so we had to think quite a bit of how to do this. And I mean, the best way I could put it was okay, hey, you got the security guy out there, you got with Brad, and then you have David J. Is like, let's use them. Let's intertwine everybody together and try to give everybody a moment, and it just to help you get heat. And I think it worked really well. I think I enjoy that match a lot. I think it's the best match her and I have had, and it was actually our first match we ever had, and it was so well. Like, we were both really happy with it when we came to the back, and we haven't. I think we've only wrestled one other time since, and we were both baby faces at the time, and that's a hard one. Usually, they're either going to the crowd's either going to sit there and not know who to choose for, or they're going to be extremely vocal for one or the other at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's a 50-50, and just I like the first match much more. And I think she agrees.
Yeah, that's. Especially that spot with the German suplexes. You do 3 of those holding German suplexes in the crowds one more time. And you gave it, man. I was like, I thought you broke her in half there after that 4th one.
I think, if I remember right, I think a lot of that match was, when we're talking back, like, hey, why don't you do all of my moves to me? Like, I remember she did the sharpshooter. I think she did a German suplex.
She did.
And I remember going right before we went out there, right before she went out the curtain, I was like, you done top rope suplex yet? She's like, no. I'm like, okay. And I knew right away, like, well, I'll work that in there. And then to go and to that, and then I remember when she did the pin, and I kicked out of it, I just rolled over and said, throw a temper tantrum. And she did that fantastically, then rolls out and gets the chair, teases the chair, drops it, comes in, gets my sledgehammer. I was like, okay, this is cool. Yeah. This is cool. It's like, she did that really well.
Yeah, she did. That was amazing right there. And then just watching that right there, I mean, just great talent. Your work in the ring is just fantastic there. And another match that was from CWAI that you sent to me, you said, check this out. It was you against Mitch Magnus. And I love how this opened up, man, because you're coming out with the towel in the water, and before you can do your thing, Mitch just attacks you, and you're brawling around the ring there. And then what got me was I like hearing the crowd interaction, because the crowd gets pumped up and stuff. And you had that one guy, because I told you I was laughing, because one guy through the whole match, kill him laughing. I was like, this is great, man, because you get the crowd pumped up like that, they'll go with you all the way. And that's what you and Mitch did in this match here, because Mitch was the heel, you were the face, and just the spots that you did in that match, and especially one spot you mentioned to me, and I thought, the way it looked, it looked like you broke Mitch's neck. That was that power. What was it? The triple X pile driver.
Triple X pile driver.
God, man.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever did it. Going to the beginning of that match. At that time, Mitch had so much heat. He was our best heel that we had. Him and Cody were up there. If you could argue, which one was one, which one was two. Mitch was so good at what he was doing. I was like, let's do this. It was the number one contenders match for the championship that had just came in the month before. That there was the championship match between Cody and Marcus. Marcus beat Mitch and Cody beat me to get to the finals. And then so Mitch and I were automatically in the number one contenders for that. And I don't know if that was the first time Mitch and I worked. I don't think it was. I think it might have been like the second or third.
Uh-huh.
And again, I think that was the best match Mitch and I ever had. And even with the opening FGW, him and I had the first match ever at the original Origins. But I love that CWAI match. I mean, when Mitch and I work together, it's tight, it's stiff, those Mitch's forearms are no joke. Those are real shots. Those are real shots, and I love it. I thrive off that. So I thought we did really well, and I've always loved working with Mitch. I would do it every night if I could.
Yeah, he's great, man. He's great, and with his work in the ring, because I had him on a few weeks ago, and I was going over some matches that I caught of him, and how he works in the ring is great, because especially when he's a heel. I love it when he's a heel, man, because I
love him as a heel.
He works the crowd. I love it. I love when he said at the beginning there, he's like, just to make an announcement, Mitch Magnus does not like it.
Yeah, with the music, his look with the stash, and just like it's like when he's a heel, he's got like the way he moves and the way his body language, he's got like a slime to him.
Yeah.
It's like, and then the whole "I hate kids" line always worked. No, I thought that was always fantastic. There was one show we did at the warehouse. I was in the opening match. I forget who it was. I think it was a tag team, but I forget the details of it. And it was hot. I mean, it was July day on a Friday, and it was so hot that after that match, the power went out in the building.
Damn.
And it got to the point that it was probably about 3 to 5 minutes went by, and people just start holding up their cell phones for lights. And it's great. And like, oh, this is really cool. I was out there as kind of getting ready to make my exit way to the back, going through a different way. And all of a sudden, Mitch just runs out because he was up next. No music, nothing. And I couldn't even remember what Mitch's music was at the time anyway. And he comes out and gets them all rowdy and yelling and everything like that. And like, oh, this, and I'm out there kind of like laying on the ground, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And I don't even know what's going on. I find out it was Mitch. That's I was like, you don't even need music. Just go out and do that every time. It's great. Then you hear his music. I'm like, no, Mitch, you need your music because that music is fantastic.
Yeah, I love what he's done in FGW there with his story and everything, chasing after the heavyweight title there, him and going after it, because losing it to Sean Casey at Origins 2, and then there right before everything got shut down, he was on his pursuit of going after Sean Casey to get the FGW championship back. And I like to see where that goes when everything starts getting back up and running again. I definitely do.
I can only assume it's still going to be Mitch chasing, because he's obviously rematch clause, all that. So there's no reason it shouldn't be. And after all the hard work Mitch did the following year, I mean, literally from the first show till the last, Mitch was in that title hunt. Mm-hmm. We did our first match at the beginning of Origins, then went out and did the Rumble. Mitch won it, and he's literally been in that title hunt ever since. So
yeah, he has, and I can't wait to see what happens next there. Something else that happened at Origins 2, since I'm thinking about it right now. Top Guns.
The Top Guns.
Top Guns. Tell me.
This was going to come up.
Tell me about the Top Guns, because I'm a little bit unfamiliar with them, because I know it's you, Eric Fallon, and Mitch Mark Magnum, excuse me.
Mark,
Yeah.
dude, everybody does that with Mitch and Mark. They flop them all the time because you got it's two double M names. It happens all the time. So the original Top Guns idea. Okay, so this goes all the way back again to the CWAI days. I'm real good friends with Marcus. Marcus is actually the one that brought me into CWAI, introduced me to Cody, everything, and kind of got my foot in the door there. I was actually retired at the time. I had retired pretty much in 2016, and I came out of retirement to do a match with Marcus because we'd always wanted to do one. And we did our match at a fair show. And I know you interviewed Ripper, and if he didn't bring up the fair show, I'm insanely surprised he didn't.
I think he did the fair show. I'm trying to remember.
This was one down in Cincinnati, and Marcus and I went out there for like 20 minutes. I knew this was a one-off for me, so I just said, screw all the rules. I'll take all the heat because I'm not going anywhere anyways. So let's go have the match that we've always wanted to do, because I'm done after this anyway.
Right.
Do our match. Fast forward to April of 2017. Marcus introduced me to Cody, kind of get the foot in the door there rolling, and so now I'm in. Around, I don't remember what month it was, but a couple months later, I start just saying these ridiculous things about calling Marcus and I the top guns, just like from the movie, just being ridiculous with it, trying to make him laugh, and he hates the idea. He absolutely despises the idea. It's a ripoff. I'm not trying to be anything like a movie. I want to be original. Everything else, everything like that. Like, dude, it would work. I'm telling you, it would work. And what month was that? I want to say October. Cody ran one of his annual HWA reunion shows, and he asked if I'd be on it, and I said, yeah, sure. I'm like, what you got planned for me? He's like, I was thinking about just putting you and Marcus together against Man and Wolf, which was Douglas Andrews and William Wolf. And I said, okay, yeah, it's totally cool. We can do that. And got to the building, talking with the boys and all that. And I go to Cody. He's like, I know this is an HWA thing, but it's in the CWI building. It's probably going to be a lot of the same fans. Rah, rah, black sheep. I was like, is this just a one-off? He's like, yeah, totally just a one-off. Awesome. Because I think the week before, Marcus had just turned babyface.
Right.
So I was like, okay, one-off. Awesome. I go to Marcus and say, we're doing the Top Guns thing tonight. I was like, it's one-off. We'll be fine. So go out there, danger zone hits. We got, that's the first time I don't do the towel gimmick. I do, okay, I got to do something different. This is totally different. So that's where the glasses and the hat idea actually came from. And Marcus goes out with aviators and like a face mask on and all this. And I'm not so much sure that people got so much invested in it just from the unoriginality or just the fact they knew what it was. When you say Top Guns, they knew what it was. Danger Zone, okay, we know what they're doing. But Ripper cut this promo right before we went out and really put the emphasis on the Top Guns thing. So I give actually Ripper a lot of the credit for having that launch the way it did. We go out there, do it, and Marcus is laughing, having a good time. I'm laughing, having a good time. And then I go back and I was like, so what do you think? He's like, I hate admitting to you that was awesome. He was really against it. And then later down the road, I wanted to bring Fallon into it because him and Marcus were doing this best of 7 series at the time that I was feuding with Cody, and I love their chemistry together. I think that they're each other's best opponents that I've ever seen them work with. Like as far as just your everyday, who you work with, something like that, I put Cody and Marcus together, or Marcus and Eric together as rivals.
Yeah.
I was like, that's just, they work so well together. I was like, Fallon can do this. So it's like starting the process all over again. I got to pitch it to Fallon. He hates the idea originally. He wants nothing to do with the guns thing and how I wanted to do it and stuff like that. And it took, as long as it took for me to convince Marcus, it took me like 3 times as long to convince Fallon to do it. I mean, that, because his character overall is way in left field compared to where the guns are, and with the paranormal thing, the face paint, all that. So that one took me a minute.
Yeah.
But once we did it in CWAI, or not CWAI, once we did it in FGW. We did one stint of it, and CWAI had like one match, and he's like, okay, that was fun, but he wasn't all in. We did it a couple tag matches in FGW with just me and Fallen at the time.
Yeah.
And then he's all of a sudden all on board with it. We start making all these creating our look, the logos, all this stuff, and start putting it all together and like really brainstorming this idea for the Top Guns. And it's like, okay, now we just need everything to fall in place. The only thing that was left. So eventually, Fallen does the turn on me, which I'm sure we'll get into later. Turns back. It's like, okay, the last piece is Marcus. We need Marcus. Otherwise, like, I'm only doing this if we can do all three of us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't want to do it.
Right.
And then Marcus finally does the turn at Origins 2, comes back out, helps me and Eric from getting completely just beat up by Amos, does the chair gimmick, and took his shirt off, had a Top Gun shirt, and that place went nuts. Like, they had been waiting for it, which is amazing to me because we had never really done much with it. We did a couple tag matches like early on, and then the turn happened, and then we have not really touched it much on it since. When I came back, Fallen was getting ready to turn babyface again, and then we were kind of in the ring together, kind of had our moment. It's like, okay, we're starting to get this train going again with the light. Marcus is the last piece. Yeah. And I remember in Marcus's match with Jay West that night, and after the end, and I don't remember exactly if he was getting a little beat down or something like that, but he had a confrontation with Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is getting ready to come to head. And I remember hearing the Top Guns chants. I was like, this is great. They already won, and Marcus hasn't even done the full turn yet. So it's just it was everything we were hoping it would be as far as how the crowd would react and if they would be invested in something that's not an original idea, just trying to make it our own. And when Marcus took his shirt off and had the Top Gun, they exploded. That's the only thing from the Origins 2 with my stuff that I remember after the shoulder thing. it was great.
Yeah, that was amazing, man, because the crowd's reaction, man, if that place had a top, they're still looking for it because it was good reaction, man. That definitely was a good reaction. You mentioned Eric Fallen. I did watch a couple of matches you had with Eric Fallen. The one that I enjoyed the most was the Anything Goes street fight you had with him at FGW there on August 2nd of 2019 there. Man, that was just the opening of it with the chair and the kendo stick and just you with the trash can on top, you in the trash can, him taking the chair, and then the thumbtacks. Just, you guys pulled about everything out there, and you just went at it there. And it was one hell of a street fight, man. I love those type of fights because there's always a reason why to have one.
As long as there's a reason for it, I love them. Mm-hmm. And when the original idea of this whole thing with the code was starting to become a thing, because that was actually something in real life we were facing. Like, we were having so much trouble even getting started because the city of Hamilton, A, B, C, D, everything, all these hoops we had to go through. Then it became like the little like cul-de-sac of the neighborhood, like across the street, which is mainly a bunch of older people, and they didn't want a bunch of rah on their Friday nights. And I get it, I understand. And so we eventually turned this into a real thing. Marcus is brought in as the leader of it right from the rib, like right from the very beginning. He's brought in, and so they start making this switch of people, and the booker at the time, Cody, has the idea of, okay, I'm going to split the locker room in half. Then he comes to, hey, you guys are over here, you guys are over there, I'm going to split teams, like, I'm going to completely cause anarchy in this. Then he comes to Fallen and I. He's like, all right, I'm going to leave this guidance up to you. Which one of you want to turn? And so that was totally 100% on us. And I was like, we'll talk about it and we'll get back to you. So we started kind of laying out ideas, or like, okay, I think Fallen at the time had really wanted to go heel, because he'd been babyface ever since I've known him. I can't remember a time prior that he was a heel.
Right.
I had just started doing the whole leather jacket, the hat, the glasses, giving the glasses to the kids thing. I was like, I'm finally in this babyface thing and actually feel comfortable with it. As opposed when CWAI, when I was turned babyface, like I was not comfortable. I had never worked babyface ever. And when that towel goes on, it's like I completely change. Like I change into something like very different. So I never really got into it the way I did once FGW started. I was like, okay, this is all brand new company. I'm gonna try something different. And I felt that it was working. So I was like, Fallon, you want to go heel anyways. Let's just turn you and I'll keep going the course that I'm going. So we do that. Do the big turn. Top Guns aren't going anywhere. Then he turns on me, the big choke slam. And so we already start getting in the bookers. It was like, how long is this going till? Because we wanted to know how to book this, or how in our heads how to put this together.
Yeah.
We knew we have the one match at the Cobra's Ends, and we wanted to know if there was something else after it. And we pitched, can we do a street fight? And he's like, yeah, I'm cool with that. That sounds really good. So we started putting together everything that we wanted to do from the street fight backwards. So we started planning the street fight in a way to, it was like, okay, what do we need to do at the Code Presents to make the street fight make sense? And that's literally how we laid it out. We had the first match, which I personally like better. I like the first one way better than the street fight because it involved Marcus, and I thought there was more story there.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because, okay, this is the first time, and you know you're going somewhere else, and maybe it's just kind of like doing the street fight. I knew at the end of it, like, this is the end. It was over. That was the end of the rivalry. So we did the match with Code Presents. Fallen goes over, and even that, it's like they didn't know. They left it up to us who was going to win. He came to us like, okay, so I'm just going to leave your guy's name blank, and whatever happens out there happens. It's like, we looked at the board, like, okay, the Code is winning absolutely everything tonight. There is no reason, like, let's do this. Let's do it this way. Boom, put Fallen over, keep him over. That gives me a reason to keep coming back using Marcus to build to the street fight. We do the street fight. I've seen a couple versions of the street fight, whether it's online or through like one of our YouTube channels, and every version I've seen misses the very beginning of it. What's the first thing you see when you pull the street fight up?
First thing I see, shoot.
Is this like right after the choke slam or right before the choke slam?
I think it was right. It starts right after the choke slam there.
Okay,
yeah.
So
yeah.
The very beginning of that match, we tried to do something a little different too. It was like he came out with a chair, had a chair. I came out, got the sledgehammer out from under the ring. So we're already weapons in hand before the match even starts. Bell rings. He goes, swings the chair at me. I duck, get to the other corner, and I chuck the sledgehammer at the chair and just drill him in the face with it. And I remember that, and the crowd was already hooked, like right there and then.
Yeah.
Boom, do a couple things, go to the outside, come back in, Fallen cuts me off, then goes right into the chokeslam spot. And my only problem with the street fight, I love the match except for I felt we were cut on time and we couldn't really tell the story we really wanted to. Because again, that's the match we had worked for almost 6 months at that point to get to.
Yeah.
And what we had laid out days before, him and I went down there and went through kind of everything. And I'm not really one to pre-plan my matches, to say I like calling a lot of it in the ring. But if it's a big match and a big rivalry and like coming to a blow, it's like, okay, we got to hit all the high notes here.
Right.
And we've got them invested enough at this point, we can do that. So we go through everything, laid out everything, and it was in our heads, because I think at the Code Presents we got 20 minutes.
Right.
So we instantly think we're going to get more for the final. So I had in my head, we're going to go about 25 here. If we get the day before, we get the notice that everyone's matches are 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, like what am I supposed to do with this coming to an end, a street fight in 10 minutes? Like there's no way I can tell. It's like, I'm furious. I'm upset. Now I'm getting emotional about it. And I'm like, and I'm just like at a loss. Like I don't even think I looked at my phone for like a day. I was like, I got to think how I'm going to do this.
Right.
And we went to the show and begged for at least give us 15. At least give us 15.
Yeah.
And tried to make chicken salad out of the chicken shit that we had with that time, and it just felt. And if you watch it, you can tell we're moving fast. Like we're moving pretty fast, and we had to cut a lot of stuff out. And at that point, it felt like it came so much more about the weapons than the story him and I wanted to tell, because we had to cut so much of the in-between stuff out. I'm still proud of it, still proud of what we did. I'm still proud of, my favorite thing is how we teased the thumbtacks real early and didn't use them till the very end. And I remember having him up, backing him up, and slowly going, so I can just hear people louder. And he's in there he's like, you ready? I'm like, nope, not yet. Let's just hold on, listen. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Boom. Do the drop, and he's rolling in them, and I'm kind of like, I'll lay him in two for a minute. Screw it, I'll lay here too. And so I am proud of the match. We just both knew what we had planned, so it's kind of like a bittersweet thing. But I mean, like you said, you really enjoyed it, and that actually did win the 2019 match of the year. Yeah,
I do like there's certain type of matches that I really get into, and when I saw this, because with you what you just explained there, I didn't really know much about it though, but I can tell from the way you guys are going at it that there was some serious shit going on, and you pretty much were at a point where it's basically we're gonna beat each other down till there's one person standing. That's what I took out of it there. That's what I did. I can tell without knowing too much of the backstory right there.
I know they put the Code Presents match, the first one between me and Paul, which at the time was undefeated versus undefeated. I know that was on one of the best of FGW shows. I don't know if you got a chance to catch that one or not. Or Shockwave, like one of the best of. Neri put that one on there and laid it out and explained what was going on before the match started and all that. So a lot of people did get a chance to see that one for the first time, because this was before we started doing DVDs and all that, and it wasn't online. It's like those was one of those you had to be there.
Yeah.
And it was actually before Shockwave started becoming a thing. Shockwave didn't become a thing till I believe September, October.
Yeah.
Late September, early October. And it's funny, so I sit there and say, I'm really surprised you even asked me to be on this show, because a lot of it's you catching up on Shockwave. I got hurt 2 weeks before Shockwave started.
Yeah.
So I broke my ribs, then found out I had kidney stones, which that was, if you ever have a chance to pass on that, don't ever do kidney stones, because it's miserable.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather deal with this than the kidney stones ever again. And so
yeah.
So I don't even have much content of myself on Shockwave till when I came back in late December, going into the build for Origins 2, and then boom, out again. So I've literally Shockwave like 3 times.
There's not much on you on Shockwave except on the Origins 2 DVD, and what matches and what you had that was on Shockwave, and 2 footage and stuff which is hard to find on YouTube of you before they did Shockwave. FGW started doing Shockwave, so what was interesting was just the stuff that I found on you, like I mentioned earlier. That's what drawed me in, because when I saw the promos or the advertising of you coming back, because I didn't know what it was at first. I'm like, what is this? I was like, at first, honestly, I was like, is Bret Hart coming? What the hell? I was like, honestly, dude, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what did Cody do? Who did Cody reach out to? Who's Cody know? He knows a lot of people. But then when you showed up, I stood out of my seat there and I was like, whoa, who's this guy? And when you coming around and at the reaction to stuff, and because my wife walked in the room, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching Shockwave. And then when you showed up in there and stuff, she was like, who's that? And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, but he's awesome, man. I was like, who is this? It's like Ryan Michaels. So I'm like, it's like right off the bat, I liked everything I seen and heard from you. And I said, who is this guy? Because the way the announcers put you over, it drawed me in. I'm like, I want to know more about Ryan Michaels. So I looked up, when I'm looking at FGW talent, I see Ryan Michaels. So I'd stop and I watched Ryan Michaels' match with whoever I was going to interview just to watch. And then I'd go on and find that match there, because sometimes I get ADD. It's like, okay, I got to watch this match, but hey, what's this right here? I want to watch this. And I'm like, oh yeah, So I started getting in. I was like, dude, I love the way he works in the ring, because I was telling my wife and my friend, I said, I love the way he works in the ring, man. It's like he's just, I don't know what it is. You have that. I don't know if you've ever been told this. You have that, to me, you have that it factor with how you come out to the ring, how you move in the ring, and how your work. And it's like, if someone's at a show and Ryan Michaels walks out, and if no one takes notice, then they're blind because of what you do. Because you have that it factor that I feel. Because
I appreciate that.
Because I didn't. You're welcome. Because I didn't know who you were, and then when I saw FGW show up, and I'm like, who's this guy? It like, you got my attention. And then just looking at everything that there is and stuff, and I was looking up all the matches too. And you've been around in wrestling for quite a while too yourself. It's
like I have been, but it's so sporadically off and on that there's no consistent thing. Like I when the hell did I start? That's how sporadic it is. I can't even pinpoint anymore when I started. Right. I don't know if it was 2012 or 2014. It's one of those two is when I originally started, and I did it for a company called USC, and I think we had like a good 6-7 month run before I bailed out. And it was originally every 2 weeks, and it went to every week, and then just things fell through, and I didn't like where certain things were going, so I was like, I'm out, screw it. And at that time, that was my most consistent run. So I think I did that from like late 2012, 2013 to 2014. I can't really remember exactly the timeline of it. Mm-hmm. And then I would go through, did a couple shows in Clarksville. I think it was like 2 or 3 shows then in 2015, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe 2015. Boom. I'm done. Leave again. And that's when I met Marcus. And I remember the first show there. I was in the main event, which, short story that too. My first ever match, I was in the main event. So people have always seen something in me without knowing really much about me. And so, I've always been very blessed and privileged with that, and been very grateful that's always been an opportunity for me. And that's where I met. Anyways, that was a side note. That's where I met Marcus. And I had watched Marcus's match because I think he went on like a match or two before mine.
Yeah.
And I watched, and I loved his work. I loved his charisma. That dude oozes charisma. His facial expressions and his interaction with the crowd is fantastic. Marcus is Marcus and like Matt Brannigan, as far as oozing charisma goes, are like the best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So Marcus comes back, and I tell him, hey, I really enjoyed your match. And again, at this time, we don't really know who each other are. And I said, hey, will you do me a favor? Like, I haven't wrestled probably in about a year and a half, 2 years at this point. Will you watch my match for me, and I'll be looking for you, and if it starts sucking ass, give me the go home sign so I can take this thing home.
Yeah.
Go out, do the match. Obviously, I start getting involved in the match, and my head starts going in other places. I'm not even looking at the curtain. So if Marcus gave me a go home, I never knew he did. Do the match, come back, and I go to Marcus. How was it? Was it shitty? Was it okay? And he's like, and Marcus said he loved it. And Marcus and I became friends like instantly that night, and he's been one of my best friends in the business since. And again, that goes with the whole timeline thing. Like I said, we always wanted to work each other. After that night, boom, couple shows there. I go back under and back. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this off and on, back and back and forth stuff, of the inconsistency of what a lot of independent wrestling federations are, of up, down, open, close. It's like, I'm done with this. It's like, I need to get my own life on track at this point anyways. And fast forward a couple of years later, Marcus has an opportunity, and we meet up again, do our match. Fast forward to CWAI, I meet Cody, who hated me at first. Absolutely hated me. We'll get into that later. And to where we're at now with FGW.
Damn, that's crazy. But damn, on and off, man. Just consistent. And FGW, just the talent that's there, and you've worked with a lot of the talent over the years too, on and off. And then just it's only been around for a year, and it looks, when you look at the product, it looks like that it's been around forever, because it's just everything just great about it that I enjoy as a wrestling fan, with production, how it's cut, edit, the talent, the stories, the wrestling. I love it. And
it looks professional. It draws your attention to, if nothing else, the product looks good.
Yeah.
Which, I know you've had a lot of people on, and they say their favorite thing about FGW is the locker room. And don't get me wrong, I love the locker room. We have a lot of good, solid people there that are for the team, not out for themselves, which is not a very popular big thing. You don't see it much. Right? A lot of people are out for themselves because that's what you're told, and you got to look out for yourself. A lot of that locker room looks out for the team. What I love most about FGW, though, is the product, the production, how it looks with the entranceway, the multiple camera shots, the lighting. It looks obviously on low budget, but it looks professional. It's not just some guys coming out of bed sheet curtains with no guardrails, with safety rope, frickin', to keep the fans back. It looks like absolute shit, and it has lighting, and it looks like a product.
Yes,
it looks like a product. It doesn't look like you just threw a wrestling ring in an open gymnasium, told people to come out this way, and then they make this long entrance with nothing but space and chairs. That's what I love about FGW. That's what keeps me more than anything else. Like, I love this. I want to keep adding more. I make sure before all of our big shows, the ropes are different colors. Like, okay, we got heat. We got to go red, yellow, and orange, and put those together. The Co-Presents, we want the purple, the white, the blue. It's like, I want each big show to be different, to not look like Shockwave.
Right.
So, that's my favorite thing with FGW. I love the presentation of how it looks. Cody, Brian, everyone that's either sacrificed time or something financially. Anyway, to make it look what it looks like today. And even if you watch the very first Origins, the difference between how it looks then to what it looks like now, it's almost like a night and day difference.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it's only going to get better. It's only going to keep getting better. The only thing that's ever going to hold us, like, I wish we could knock down some walls to add more space, maybe add some bleachers going up. Like, I was like, fuck, I'll weld us some bleachers, or I know some carpentry skills too. I did that in every summer down in Florida with my dad. And it's like, let's build bleachers. Let's build like one row that's just like on the hard cam side that just starts going up, and call it the Hawk's Nest or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And it's because that'll look awesome on camera. Uh-huh. And it'll so it's just always got ideas for production. Need to rob a bank to do it.
That's good. That's good that you're always thinking about stuff. You're always thinking about doing something to improve, and just like with your work there, you're always looking at, critiquing and looking at your matches to do something, do this better, or I should have done this, but I did that. That's kind of like when I talked to Jay West. When I talked to him, that was great. That's probably my favorite one you've done. I used to train with Jay West. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. It just popped in my head. No, that's fine.
Like I've known Jay West since training with Les Thatcher. And funny story with Jay too. It's kind of the same thing with Cody. Jay West's first impression was like, I'm either gonna become like really good friends with this guy, or we're gonna fight. and Jay and I have been close ever since the beginning. I just got that like natural like resting bitch face, or I come off as a prick unintentionally, whether it's body language or just something about me comes off like, hey, fuck that guy. And I don't mean so you get to know me, and once I do eventually open up to you. But yeah, I love the interview you did with Jay West. It was fantastic.
I do appreciate that. Thank you. It's one of my, I'd have to say it had to be one of my favorite ones there, because just what we talked about with his matches, and then what really gets me at the end is when he's talking about like any advice, and when we're talking about the backup plan. I went back a while, not too long ago, just watch that, and it hits you. It's like, you know what, he is exactly right, because
he's dead on. He's dead on. I listened to that and I messaged him right away and said, I was like, oh my God, I've been saying that for years. That's dead nuts. So I was like, and it's like you could tell it almost like the more he's talking about, the more fired up he's getting about it. And it was like, this is friggin' great. Yeah. This is great, and he's right. He's 100% right.
Yeah, he is, because he's totally right about it, because you're doing wrestling. And then that something happens, injuries, or where basically you got to walk away from it. What are you going to do? What's the next thing you're going to do? I know off the top of my head, because I was talking with him, I believe it was on or off. I said, what was it? Xavier Woods, the WWE. Guy has a PhD and he's a wrestler, man. He has a backup. He has that backup, and yeah, that's smart. That's really smart to think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was saying about when I kept going on off till I eventually went into time. I was like, I need to figure out what I'm doing with my life. I was like, you can only chase. You have a small window when you can actually chase this dream to make it to the E, whether it's your age or how much you get around and your name gets about. But if you get there and you ain't got the look, because you got to think when you get to the WWE, these are big guys.
Yeah.
Now, you might be something like a nice size guy on the indies. You get over there and you're nothing. They almost you're like invisible to them because you don't stand out. So like to really make this business this into a career and to be really financially successful, it's very, very hard. Whether it's your look, people or right place, right time, right match, right person on the crowd with the right connections. It's a bunch of what ifs.
Yeah.
And I about the time I was 26, that's when I said, okay, I need to figure out what I'm doing with my life. I need to get something else rolling here. I can always come back to this, and if nothing else, I can come back to it because I love it and do it for fun. But I can't keep chasing this dream forever. I'm 180 pounds, and that's killing myself with 4,000, 5,000 calories a day living at the gym, which is another thing that becomes part of your life and is a controlling aspect of your life. And that got bad for me. Like the gym life got real bad for me to the point like if I didn't go, like it ruined my whole friggin' day.
Yeah.
Like if anything messed up going to the gym for either to relieve stress or because I've got this goal for wrestling or just goal for me personally, whatever the case is, like if I did not go or something came up that ruined that, like I was in a pissed off mood. And that's not a good way to live. You can't be like that. So yeah. I had to get away from I think I was 29. 29 is like when everything finally clicked. I had the job that I'm still at now and have, done the best I can to move up at a decent rate in that company and always want to keep going up. Because if I've learned anything during this whole pandemic thing is like trash ain't going nowhere, homie. There's always going to be trash. So that job, if you lose that job, you lost that job. It's not because they got rid of you. That's because you fucked up. So you take, and again, going back to what I was saying, when I was 29, right before 30, I had the incident happen. My father wasn't doing very well and just something personally happening on my end. Like I hit that wall. Like everything I'd been holding on to with myself for like the last 5-10 years, whatever the case is, like I broke. Like I like collapsed and like it all just like I cried and like after I was done crying and kind of got myself back there, it's like I felt like this huge like rock was lifted off of me. Like it was like all of a sudden everything that I thought was important wasn't important anymore, and it's like the things that were supposed to be priorities in the beginning, I finally see like this is what I need to be doing to take care of myself and my life. And it's just, and I, to this day, like even the gym is not top priority to me. If I go, I go. If I don't, I don't. And I might lose weight here and there because I'm one of those guys. If you don't go, you lose weight. Like I can go on vacation and lose 5 pounds. So I mean, and I'm slowly getting back into. Obviously, I keep getting hurt now, so that's delaying things, and it's hard to get back in that rhythm again to where it doesn't become consuming. Right. To where it's pattern, and I don't want to be that guy again. So I'm slowly introducing it back in my life, and I'm finding the balance with it, and finding balance, just like Jay was saying in what you were talking about taking care of yourself outside of wrestling and finding balance, whether it's family, friends, your own financial and personal reasons, like that you can't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket. Unless you are a genetically gifted person at 20 years old and are 6'4" and just a natural big guy, the odds of getting anywhere far in this business is slim. Yeah. And I would tell people the same thing. Get your backup plan established first, come back to wrestling. Because just in case this doesn't happen or you get hurt, you've got this to fall on and you can take care of yourself. Exactly. For example, it's like if I didn't have nothing that I had as a priority in my life outside of wrestling, as far as something financially or a career, having these back-to-back injuries, really being out since September, it's like I'd be fucked. It's like, I would be fucked. What am I supposed to do? You can't file unemployment on not wrestling. That's not going to work. No. And so it's like so you literally, and even now with the pandemic, it's like, so we're in what? Almost June now. Yeah. So if really on a calendar year, I've been out pretty much 10 months. That'd been 10 months, no money, no nothing. And just losing everything, whether it's losing the place I stay at, selling stuff to make ends meet, to pay rent, whatever the case is. It's like, it's one of those important things, like people have got to take care of themselves outside of the business. Almost more importantly than inside the business. Is like, find the balance. Find balance, people. Right. Yeah, I pretty much got furloughed from my job in April, and this is going on about 2-3 months now. Right. And I even contacted my job. I'm like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Once we know something, we'll let you know." Click. I'm like, "Really?" So have you been working from home, or you just been laid off, or are you still getting paid? I mean, just. No, I don't know, these personal questions. You don't need to answer those. No, I pretty much I had to do like 3.3 million other people. I believe that was. I had to file for unemployment. I definitely had to file for that. My wife, her hours got cut, but now she's getting more hours, which is helping. Yep. I am getting unemployment to help out, and then plus with the stimulus. Yeah, I know a lot of people that when they got that stimulus, they're going to do. I know I have friends that are going to that basically are going to take it and blow it. Oh, a lot of them are. Then what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? Yeah, and then I know friends that will take that stimulus and continue paying their bills. So I've been paying my bills. I still been paying my mortgage, my utilities. I've been just doing that. I saved $40, but I didn't switch to Geico. Right, exactly. You got free money coming to you. It's like, why would you go? Like, we don't know when this thing is ever going. Yeah. When things are going to get back normal, you're going to go blow it. And it's like I paid off some hospital bills with a little bit of it, and the rest of it right in the savings. Yeah, yeah. But the $40, I finally got around to potty train my 3-year-old. So there you go. yeah. I finally got around to doing that, man, and that saved about $40 because diapers. Damn. Need a T-shirt that says "Coronavirus potty trained my 3-year-old." Don't give me no ideas. I may put that on a T-shirt. But
Yeah, it's been rough though, but I've been hanging in there. I mean, my wife, my daughter, and even my dog that's sitting there over there looking at me.
Right.
We've been doing pretty good. I mean, I've had a lot of time to do put content out and talk to a lot of great people, especially from FGW and a lot of other people. And some things have come about this here in the last month, which I can't explain or talk about at the moment, though. But within weeks, I'll be able to discuss and put out there the opportunities that presented itself during this time for me. So,
oh, fantastic!
Yeah, I'm grateful that
that's awesome.
It is. I didn't expect
one door shuts, the other one opens, type of things.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited about it. And I will tease that one of my best friends, he gets to go along with the ride with me on this, which is great.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I'm happy about that because that it's just out of nowhere this happened. It was like, what? So I'm grateful, and I am thankful for just everything that I've been able to do doing this and talking to such great people and great talent for the independent wrestling industry to the independent film industry, to talking with like just great people as yourself, and just it's amazing, man. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for it. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for it, man. It's amazing.
It's making memories. Sometimes it's like about life. It's making memories. Like, yeah, it might suck right now, but let's FF 5 years when it's no longer as like, man, I freaked out about that over nothing, or you know what I mean? We're fine. It's like, but you're gonna take the memories that you took from when shit was hitting the fan, and you always remember those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely am. Next year, I know a year from now, I'm gonna look back at this and be like, wow. I was like, that was a crazy year though, but
it all worked out.
Yeah, it all worked out, and I had some great conversations with some amazing people along the way. So this is even better.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's a couple things I want to ask you before we start wrapping it up here. When we were talking about your matches, you're talking about your towel that you wear over your head and the sunglasses and jacket. Now, what can you explain that to me? Because some of the matches I see with the towel, and then I see with this hat, the jacket, and the sunglasses.
Pretty much what I'm wearing now is plus sunglasses. Yeah, so what it is ever since I was in the business, the towel thing was my thing. That's what I came out, and I was a heel at the time. So it's like it all kind of worked. You kind of hide your face a little bit. You kind of be a little bit meaner, be a little more intense, like telling people like, hey, back off, kind of intense, not like that intense, like you're trying to get as a babyface that they're buying into you. So that's the towel was first, and that's always been my thing. It's still my favorite thing. There's just something about it when it goes on like that just something about me like wakes up. Like I guess how you explain it, like something with that it factor. There's something inside me that wakes up as soon as that goes on. Like I get friggin' pumped. And I don't know why. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's just at this point in my career, just remembering my roots and where I came from. So that was always my thing. And in 2017, going into the babyface role, I was like, okay, I didn't even really want to do the babyface role at the beginning because I didn't know if I would know how to do it.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll change this, change that. It's like, I'm not changing the towel though. That's like trademark with me at this point. I'm keeping it. And so I kept the towel thing, and it was what it was. So there wasn't a lot that I could really tell the difference besides just people are cheering me now instead of booing me. It wasn't until I did the first Top Guns thing with Marcus at the HWA show. I was like, okay, let's not do the towel because this is totally different. Did the sunglasses with the hat, and I was like, okay. And even walking out of the curtain, I felt different. Like something, like I didn't like take myself so intense or so serious or whatever the case may be. It's like something's different. And I loved it. And I was like, ooh. okay, that's kind of maybe the last piece I've been missing to really get this whole into the babyface thing and mindset going. It's like I left something behind that I needed to see the light on one other area.
Right.
So, kind of started flirting with that a little bit, added the leather jacket in, and kind of went from there. FGW starts, and I'm like, okay, now I'm not doing the towel thing. Now I'm just doing hat bandana with the sunglasses and the leather jacket. Then I started thinking, I was like, ooh, why don't we try this? So then I started doing the old, as a Bret Hart guy, I was like, I'll start giving my sunglasses out to the kids.
Nice.
When I come out, and just to, for extra support, especially during that first show, trying to establish, because when you go to independent shows and you're traveling and stuff, and people don't know who you are, it takes a while for them to understand. And unless the bad guy, unless the good guy starts clapping, hey, right away, hey, let's go team, or the bad guys, shut your fat face. And unless they're doing that, they don't know who to go for right away.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to try to do something to establish myself right away before the match even starts, to just for help for both of us, for me and my opponent.
Right.
So I started doing that and realized, okay, this is working. I really enjoy it. I'm enjoying it more. This and but I would keep getting people coming up to me when I'm selling shirts or out there just talking with fans during intermissions, we love what you're doing and all that stuff, but we remember the old you. That is something it's never gotten away from me.
Yeah.
So it's I remember the black towel and all that. It's we kind of miss the black towel or that side of you and all this. It's okay. It's how can I make this thing? Because I miss it too.
Yeah.
That's still, when I think Ryan Michaels, that's still who I think of.
Right.
I was how can I do this? So then we start getting into the thing with me and Fallon and that rivalry, and we start talking. And in conversation, Fallon says, and just between me and him, he's I want you to be the old you this one night and just come out and let's fight. I want you to be that old you, that old ass-kicker Triple H style you.
Yeah.
And I was okay. He's I think I can do that for this. So I came out. I remember coming out in all the Top Gun stuff at first, because I had a Top Gun shirt on, Top Guns, glasses, everything Top Guns. And then go in the back, and even the Top Guns music played. Then I start slowly backing up, going to the back, and I strip down, get out of all my stuff and everything, and put the towel on, new gear, all that stuff.
Yeah.
In a matter of 20 seconds.
Damn.
And then come out through, and the people that had been wanting to see that side again and remember the old side and all that, erupted, lost it, they were into it, which made me into it, and doing the match. Okay, I can start making this a thing, kind of a special thing, when it's an intense rivalry or something personal or a real big match feels I'll go to this route and make this kind of WrestleMania special. Or how Finn Balor does the demon thing, or now you got the Fiend in with Bray Wyatt, all that stuff. I'll start doing that. I was I'll be this one all the time. When this one comes out, it's legit. It's serious now. And then it's completely different in-ring styles. It's completely different attitude. It's completely different level of intensity. Everything's different.
Yeah.
So I've actually turned it into something that I really, really enjoy now, and I really look forward to when those big matches happen, because it's just, I love it. I love the black towel. I can't get away from it. People don't want me away from it.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing, because they identify you with that, and I think it's great, and that's a cool way to do that right there. Have that come out for something like that there, when it's a rivalry like that, or when it's shit's getting serious, so the black towel's coming out. I love that. I love that approach to it there. And I know we had a conversation last night. We were talking about moves and stuff, and I made the comment about, I love how you do the spine buster, because it reminds me of the Enforcer Double A, and you say you kind of do it like the Triple H, which I think it's great, because just that move, the spine buster, because you hit it and it's bam, and then it's good for you because your finishers the sharpshooter. So that sets it up right there, which is brilliant. Good working your way into it. I love it.
Right. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't have quite the double A snap that he has. It's kind of more the big up and then the spin. So it's kind of more like how Hunter used to do it. But yeah, I've always done. I don't remember when I started doing it, but I remember when I did it, it felt really good. And then that was the one move that I would always get compliments on, no matter anything else. I would always come back, say, people come, hey, good match, whatever, and then someone would always comment, love that spine buster, it's like the one move that is with me all the time. Like that one doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like people. And then I remember doing it even with FGW. Brian Beach did the double A spine buster as well, and I hadn't really talked to Brian any time before that or anything. So him being more of the veteran stuff, I asked him. I was like, hey, do you have problems with me doing this? Because I don't like when everyone on the roster does the same friggin' moves. There needs to be some identity and make things like this belongs to them, that belongs to them.
Right.
So I asked Brian, like, do you care if I do the double A? I was like, I'll get rid of it if you want me to. And he's like, no, I think we do it different enough. We have different enough approaches with it. That's fine. So Brian gave me the blessing to keep using it, and so I do. And now I'm the one in FGW that does it.
I love it. I love it because it's like I mentioned to you, it's one of those moves that I don't really see much of in independent wrestling. I may have seen, there's someone out there that probably does it, but I don't see it quite a bit, not less like in like you said, like Triple H, or like if you go back and watch Double A and then do it though. But I like it because it's just like right then and there, and it's just like power. You throw.
It's my one big move I've got. It's my one big move. Unless the Triple X pile driver's coming out, it's my one big move I got. So.
I love it. I love it, man. And of course the sharpshooter. And I mean, Bret Hart fan. I mean, yeah. That's great. I mean, Bret Hart, one of the greatest in-ring technicians in wrestling there with everything he did, and he had some great rivalries with Shawn Michaels.
Everyone, yeah, of course, everyone always says Shawn, but I mean, me personally, I think his rivalry with Stone Cold Steve Austin in '96, '97 is his best one. Those are some of my favorite matches. And I like when I sit there and like how I explained to you about Fallon and Marcus earlier, like two people are just like meant to work together.
Yeah.
Like they just like you can watch it over and over again, it never gets old.
Right.
Cody Hawk and I are the same way with each other. We gel extremely well in the ring, and everybody does say that about Cody, that their best matches is with Cody. They love working with Cody. Raw Black Sheep, as long as Cody's been in the business, and Cody knows every single trick, every single hold, every single thing to do in every single situation of a match. I mean, he's fantastic. For Cody to say that to me, that I'm one of the top guys that he works with, that gels with him, is a huge compliment in itself. And it's the same way with me. Cody is the same thing. Like that's my Austin Brett. That's my Fallen Marcus. Like that we're meant to be together. In the ring we're married. It's like in the ring we're married with each other. I haven't seen any of it in FGW, but when CWAI it's Cody and I together every night. Every one way or the other, every single night up until it went down.
Yeah, he's Cody's. I love what he's done with wrestling. I mean, just he trained so many great people. So many people's worked with him, and I don't know what else to say, because I mean, he won. It was amazing, and I brought it up when I had him on my show, that when he won the Cauliflower Alley Club Award for Trainer of the Year. Damn, it's like
fantastic.
It's fantastic. And I went and watched. Did you watch the speech that Moxley gave right before?
No, I've not seen it. Oh.
Yeah, You haven't seen it? It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. And I mean, he nailed it with everything, warm and nice about Cody. And then Cody went up there and gave his speech too, which was just fantastic. And it was a great moment there. I mean, he's done a lot in wrestling there.
He has done a lot. He learned from Les Thatcher, which is actually who I was trained by as well. So that Cody and I always kind of had like that, and same with Jay West. We kind of always had like that brotherhood connection just by where we came from. Even though Jay didn't like me at first, Cody did not like me at first, and just kind of had to earn my way in there. And I get that. I told you just how I come off naturally. And when I met Cody, this is when I'm in training with Les, so I'm hearing all the stories about Cody because they have this falling out. So it's being like put in my head who Cody Hawk is as this person.
Yeah.
Then I get to know Cody. And he's not like that at all. It's like Cody's actually a really cool guy and someone I talk to frequently. So it's probably why I came off the way I did with Cody in the beginning. And then it was until we worked together, we did not have that mutual respect for each other. Like I respected Cody for what all he's done, but as far as earning my respect for me personally, it wasn't there until we worked together and realized dude, that was great. And then we just built off that to the next one. And the one match I was trying to find last night that I couldn't find to watch, which is my favorite match of all time, is back in CWAI. It was in the tournament that we talked about earlier, the match between Cody and I. That's my favorite match of all time.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of CWAI. There's a lot of tag matches with you and Cody.
Yeah,
I came across.
Not that singles one. Yep.
Yeah, that I was looking.
I looked for you. I couldn't find it.
Oh, I was looking too, man. I was looking too because I was like, I want to see this, and I come across damn, I can't forget. I forget who was tagging with you, but then it was like you against the 5 Most Wanted, you against Code, you against Cody Hawk, Shauna. There was even one I was like, I want to go back and watch. I was like, Cody Hawk and David J. What?
Right. Oh yeah.
I was like, what?
That was in me and Matt Cooper. Cooper, I think is his last name. He was like he did some plugs for us back in the day because he worked with B105 radio.
Yeah.
So we did. So it's like he did some plugs for us. We let him get in the ring, and obviously taped it and bring it out there because obviously the B105 following is way bigger than an independent wrestling company's following. So yeah, use this and use him and let him share it to get more eyes on the product. So yeah, I know which one you're talking about. But Cody and I have always been very same-minded that we don't like putting our stuff out there for free.
Yeah.
We'd rather put we want people to come in the building. Obviously to pay and watch what we do, but we want it for the look. There's nothing worse than watching a tape or even going out there and performing in front of 20 people and seeing nothing but empty chairs. We want that place packed. And even for me, for the simple fact of how it looks, again, production, I want that place packed.
Yeah.
Just and so Cody and I have always been. I remember when we were doing our matches, talking about we'll put all the teasers out there every match up until our singles ones, and we wouldn't put them out there. And we wouldn't let and if they were recorded and we found out, we flagged them and got them ripped off. So I knew going to look for that match, it was going to be hard if I could find it. But that's that's just how we were with that series, that we wanted people to be there.
Yeah, that's understandable. There, that is one thing. When I watched the Cold Blooded 2019 DVD, there was an extra match on there which I didn't expect because I thought it was great, which was Sami Callihan going up against Ace there.
Yeah.
I don't follow Impact as much because back in the day, I could tell you who was on Impact, everybody from AJ to Kurt Angle, but now I know this person or that person is on there because I don't watch it closely. But the match I watched with Sammy and Ace, man, I was like, damn, this it was a great match, and it was a great bonus for that DVD, man. Because
It was.
yeah, because just I imagine myself just if I was there to see it, man, damn, because the place erupted there. And speaking of crowds, FGW, man, they have a great crowd.
do.
I mean, the place gets packed in there, man, and it has some of the great fans that follow and keep up with the product and keep up with the talent, and it's just awesome.
We do.
Plain and simple.
We have a great loyal fan base. You see a lot of the same familiar faces, and they buy into everything and believe in the product, and have their favorites, who they like to boo, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I love our fan base. That's like that's why there are other things that it keeps you coming back. It keeps you're not going out there and just hearing crickets. And that's one of the joys about being in the same building over and over and over again. They know where you are. A lot of the same people come in. They know the storylines. Like I say, you've caught up with all the Shockwave stuff and got into the storylines. They know who's who and what's what, and it helps everything all around. It's not going out there town after town after town after town and reestablishing yourself over and over and over again and doing the same shtick over and over and over again. It's like, we can actually tell the stories now and the storylines because everyone knows what's going on. So it's a very that's one of the things I don't take for granted is the people that we have that come and support us, that have supported us from the very beginning, and the ones that have stayed since the beginning. And it's one big happy family.
That's amazing, man. I love it, and I can't wait for FGW to get back up and running. I know when FGW does get back up and running, because with you being injured, how have you even been? Have you hit the ring, or are you able to hit the ring? What have you been doing?
I'm just now kind of, like I said, getting back into the gym a little bit, and some motions still hurt. I mean, you can still push down on it. It still hasn't technically fused, but the pain for the most part almost is all the way gone. Like, I can actually sleep on my right side now with my arm out, and it doesn't hurt or cause anything to go numb or anything. So it is healing, just a very extremely slow process. I haven't had a chance because of the pandemic to get back in, because it's not really like an emergency thing, to see where I'm at, see where the progress at, take x-rays again. Because originally when I went in, they didn't want to do surgery. They said, let's see if it'll heal on its own.
Yeah.
That was back in February, and I guess technically that is healed, but it's still extremely visible. Like I can see it now on the camera. But as far as movements and all that goes, it's gone. The pain's gone. So it's just a matter of getting back in and seeing where the progress is at. If it's good to get back in the ring, or if we're not quite there, that one wrong move can slip it back up because it still hasn't technically fused. So I've got, on my end, a lot of uncertainty of when I'll be back as of right now.
Okay.
Sadly.
Yeah, man, I'm glad that you're doing good, and I mean, taking your time and not rushing anything. You're taking care of yourself. That's smart. The smart thing to do, and the smart way to look at it there. And when you do get back in the ring, I'm gonna be looking forward to it, man. I definitely am.
Same here. As do I.
I definitely am, because you know what the good thing is about coming off of an injury. I mean, for example, Triple H. Remember when he tore his quad in that tag match, and he was gone for months, and
9 months.
He missed the whole Invasion angle. He comes back just in time for the Royal Rumble at Madison Square Gardens, man. I remember that night watching it with my dad, God rest his soul, and we're sitting there watching it, and he got excited because Triple H, he's like, where's he been? And I was like, don't you remember, Dad? He got injured. Oh, yeah, Chris Jericho kicked his ass. Yeah, screw him. And, I was like, no, and I explained it. He goes, okay. So when Triple H came out there, he was like excited because, I mean, just how the roof blew off Madison Square Garden. And then My dad, I always remember this from my dad. One of my memories watching that moment there when Kurt Angle came out. My dad came off his chair and he yelled at the TV like he did back growing up, yelling at Ric Flair, coming on the TV, going after the American Dream. Dad jumped up and he yelled and he said, "Triple H, grab that sledgehammer and kick his fucking ass."
Right.
He was just, he'd get into it, man. My old man, I love him. And he got into it, that night. He was so excited about Triple H's return, but coming off an injury, making that return, making a return impact, not expected, no surprise, element of surprise, which would be great because it'd be awesome to be watching Shockwave and all of a sudden out of nowhere, boom, here comes Ryan Michaels. It's like, damn, didn't expect that,
It's funny you mentioned the Triple H comeback because that is actually like my favorite wrestling moment of all time is Triple H's return to Madison Square Garden. I had liked Triple H prior to that. I remember watching that, and I was at 2002, so I was 13 years old, maybe 14.
Uh-huh.
I remember watching that, and when the music hit and that place erupted, I was like instantly like, oh my God. Like it sucked me in like immediately. Then he comes back and his presence, he looked huge and looked great. And just that moment, and I was like, and and that moment was like, Triple H is my favorite. Triple H right now is my favorite guy, and he held that all the way up until, we went from Hogan as a kid to, really it went from Hogan to Triple H. I did because I didn't really get that young get to appreciate Brett all that much. So you go back later and watch stuff. It's like, okay, it's Brett and Hunter. Brett and Hunter are my guys.
Yeah.
And even thinking about when I was coming back, because I knew what I wanted to do with Amos for Origins 2, I'm thinking there was like, the same thing as like, can I have that Triple H moment when I come back? And it felt good when I came back. I was so nervous. I was the most nervous I've been in years about coming through the curtain or just doing the surprise things. Like, would people give a shit that I was back?
Right.
And that's one of the things with being hurt that sucks. It's like you get antsy to come back, but it's like, are people going to be excited when you come back, or is like they come back and they kind of forgot you? So it's a 50-50 thing. But I mean, the Triple H Madison Square Garden is my favorite moment of time, and that's exactly what was going through my head right before I was about to go out there. When I came back, I was like, oh, please don't be dead silent, please don't be dead silent. That's
one of my favorite returns right there. When you look at talent making their comeback, that's one of my top favorite comeback moments there when he returned to Madison Square Garden. Because just imagine, could you imagine being there like that night in the building? You'd be death, man.
I would probably just say, what's the point of me wrestling? There is never going to be a moment that I ever have that's going to eclipse what just happened. It never happened. And I even say, like, I can watch the video today on YouTube and still get goosebumps when that crowd just comes unglued. As soon as he walks through the curtain and they just erupt again, and it's like, oh, like it still gets me today.
Yeah, it does me too, because just so much, man. But yeah, that's one of my favorites there too. I'm along right there with you. One of my favorite moments in wrestling when he made his return in 2002. It's good shit.
Yeah, it's great shit.
Yeah,
it's great shit.
I think I'm gonna coin that now as one of my new slogans there. It's good shit, because it can apply to anything.
Exactly.
So just like this podcast tonight, good shit.
Good shit.
See,
I haven't done one of these in quite a while, so I was pretty excited to come on and do it.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you there for a while, but I didn't know how to go about it there, and because I was looking getting close to episode 200. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at, okay, who have I not gotten on that I need to put on the last 2 episodes before 200. So I got to look in there, and it was like the universe was telling me, it's like Ryan Michaels. So I was like, I got to reach out to Ryan, man. I was like, the least that Ryan could say would be like, no, and that's
Right.
it, But
And honestly, if I didn't enjoy your shows that with all the others you're doing, and I didn't like your presentation and how it seemed very professional, I would have told you no. I got no problem telling people no. I tell people no all the time. Yeah, I'm good.
yeah, that's I got a little bit nervous there, and it's like people were telling me a while back ago when I had Cody, you got to get Cody on. It's like I had 5 people tell me. It took 5 people for me to actually say, you know what, I'm gonna reach out to Cody. He could say no, that's it, but he said yes. And when you said yes, and when you brought up about not much on FGW, but we talked about FGW, but there was a lot to talk about with you tonight, and I do appreciate you coming on here and talking about your wrestling career and everything, man.
Thank you. I appreciate being on, and I appreciate everyone that threw my name out to you and says, hey, you need to talk to Ryan Michaels, because, like I said, you can't find much content on me because I keep a lot of that stuff off. I'm not one of those guys that promotes himself to death and whores himself out. Like I'm not one of those guys. That's just not me. And so for the people that you've had on that have thrown my name out to you, I really appreciate that. And that's that means more to me that you came across me that way than just coming across me through videos. Like that means more to me. And so thanks, guys. Love you too.
You're great, man. You're awesome, and I loved it. Everything tonight we talked about, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Oh yeah, for sure. This was great.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
This was fun.
Yeah, it's always fun when you come on my show, man. I keep it open. I keep it open like this. I definitely do.
Yeah.
And before we do close up here, you have anything you want to plug or anything you want to mention?
There's the FGW Facebook page that everybody should go like and follow, because you're going to see content from, not just myself being on there, but everybody involved with FGW. It's Mitch Magnus, Mark Magnum, Eric Fong, Cody Hawk, Shauna Reed, William Wolf, Shea Solo, anybody, and all those people that they're always having content up. And now with the whole pandemic going on, they're even putting like videos up, like we did a Don't Rush challenge, and we've done a couple other funny things just to give people something to entertain them, because at the end of the day, that's what we are as entertainers. So go give them a like on Facebook. I do have a Ryan Michaels Facebook. Go check it out. You ain't gonna see much because I don't post shit. I share more than anything else. I don't post anything because what the hell you guys want me to say? So again, not one of the guys that constantly puts himself over. So, but other than that, no Twitter, no Instagram. I'm a grown ass man. I don't have Instagram. So, mainly the best way is either the Ryan Michaels page on Facebook or the FGW page as well.
All right. I do appreciate it. And before we do go, let me go ahead and plug this Podcasting Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Head over to podcasting.net for great content and great shows over on the website. Hit them up on Facebook, Podcasting Network. Give them a thumbs up and a follow. Send them a tweet over on Twitter at PodcastingNet. Subscribe to their YouTube channel for video podcast over on Podcasting Network and on Twitch, Podcast City Network. You want more Everett Lee? Then hit me up on Facebook. Give me a thumbs up and a follow, Everett Lee Show. Twitter at @TheEverettLeeShow. Instagram, Everett Lee Show. And audio portions of this podcast and previous release podcast, head over to YouTube, The Everett Lee Show, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Podbean, and iHeartRadio. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, downloading this episode, or viewing. and I do appreciate it. And I'll see you again next week for another episode of the Everett Lee Show.